Hello and welcome to the Post Up Podcast. This is Cyrus Rogers.
And this is Kaunda Chama.
So we are back with another episode, and it is a doozy. It's a real doozy because we're asking some really important questions, especially for Kaunda's soul. We're asking to start off with, how you doing, Kaunda?
I'm great. You know, when your team's 5-1 and he's on a 5-game winning streak, you're good.
Yeah, oh, I guess, anyway, we're going to be talking about the Lakers. He gave it away with his love fest there. But we want to find out whether or not the Lakers are the real deal. On the podcast today, we've got a few questions we want to ask. We're going to look at a couple of the teams that are doing surprisingly well. We've got African players to look at. We've got players of the week to look at. So let's get straight into it. Kaunda, the big question. Are the Los Angeles Lakers the real deal? Now, I know you're a fanboy, so you're obviously going to say yes.
Yeah.
But let's try and be, somewhat cognizant of the fact that not everybody loves the Lakers.
But they should. See, the Lakers have got a lifetime invitation to Big K's Boom Boom.
Okay.
I'll explain where that is later to all you Lakers fans. But Cyrus, on a serious note, right?
Yeah.
The Lakers have gone through some terrible seasons. Let's say dating back to 2011.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time since they've looked this good, especially at the beginning of the season. Let's take a step back. LeBron James arrives at the franchise last season. Great expectations, but coupled with his injury was the team just didn't perform. Yeah. There was locker room chemistry issues. The youngsters that were put on the trading block, things just went wrong.
Yeah.
So the offseason saw a rebuild, right?
Yeah,
so
new coach,
team. Basically new team.
Yeah.
I mean, give or take LeBron James and Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, give or take a LeBron James and Kyle Kuzma.
And Kyle Kuzma, yeah.
And a couple of returns like Rajon Rondo and JaVale McGee.
Yeah. So basically we got a new squad, right? And I think the squad is looking good, Cyrus. I mean, I can't knock a team that's got a great starting five and a bench that looks relatively deep. The thing is, everybody, when you ask about the Lakers, are the Lakers the real deal? They keep rushing to Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. Yeah. And you heard what I said there. Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers.
Yeah.
So just because the Clippers are also the real deal, people keep saying then the Lakers aren't the real deal.
Must not be. Yeah.
So to me, Cyrus, just looking at what they're doing, if you look at LeBron's numbers, right, he's had 2 back-to-back triple-doubles. They haven't been like astronomical triple-doubles, but they've been impressive.
They all count. Ask Russell Westbrook.
Absolutely. Now, when you look at his assists in those triple-doubles, that tells a whole story, telling you that he's now deferring. Yeah. LeBron James knows that he's not the LeBron James that he once was, but he's got a young bull in the crowd, in Anthony Davis. So he can defer to the younger bull. He's got JaVale McGee, who wants to prove himself still worthy of being a top-class big man. Yeah. And an interesting story now is the return of Dwight Howard for a second try. It's like you lived in this house before, or you went to this house or to this school before, and things just didn't work out. Then you're back, and you and I have spoken honestly about his attitude problems back in the days. But now he looks like a new guy. I've read somewhere that he's on this vegan diet. His physique is looking...
Every year they trot out the same. Dwight Howard's looking incredible. He lost 10 pounds.
But look, he's looking incredible.
He is.
And he's playing well.
He's looking like he's in good shape. He's actually doing what's required from the coaching staff coming off the bench. And this is the difference, right? This is what you want from a player. He looks hungry.
Absolutely.
And maybe it's the veganism thing. I'm obviously just kidding.
That will keep you hungry.
But I think the thing about it is that he's fitting into the role that he's being asked to play. Yeah. And I think we mentioned this, but maybe not on the show, but he looks like he's potentially a 6th Man of the Year kind of candidate.
No, we said it on the show.
The level of ability, that's great. The level of ability that he's showed coming off the bench, there's no loss of production when he's on the floor. And that's the kind of stuff that you actually see with the Clippers, who they keep getting compared to, because, when Montrezl Harrell is on, you're getting all action.
Absolutely.
And so it's that kind of thing that you're also getting from Dwight Howard. So teams can't relent, because when JaVale McGee is there and he's on the court, he's doing some stuff. Then, you have Dwight coming on and doing some stuff. And potentially, I'm going to say it, Jared Dudley also doing some things, but maybe not the same things.
Look, Jared Dudley is that locker room guy. He's that guy that gets you all fired up. But Cyrus, to go back to Dwight Howard, he was asked in a post-game interview this week, so do you see yourself as playing a great role? He said, to me, this is not a role. This is my destiny.
His
deep
destiny.
words. Deep words. So, he feels a certain level of, commitment to the Lakers. I think the fact that it's his second try, and we all know
you don't always get second chances.
You don't always get second chances, especially at a franchise like the Lakers, which is well decorated. And Cyrus, even overlooking guys like Danny Green.
Yeah,
who
who's
people
been
thought,
fantastic.
He's just a shooting guard, whatever. But he's been fantastic for the Lakers. The Lakers haven't even fully used the youngster like Quinn Cook, who they acquired from the Golden State Warriors. You know how he was when he played under Steve Kerr alongside the likes of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. This guy's a great guard. He's a great second option even. So, I don't want to talk too much about DeMarcus Cousins because we're not really sure. But Avery Bradley has stepped up in the absence of Rajon Rondo, and who should be back soon into action. And I'm glad to see Kyle Kuzma, who's one of my favorite players, and I know you like Kyle Kuzma.
I'm a big fan of Kyle Kuzma.
Great three-guard, and he's back from injury, and I know they're managing his minutes, but when Kyle gets going. Kyle gets going, and it's light.
There's a reason why they didn't want to trade him, in the sense that he's got the potential to become one of the greatest stars the game has at the moment. I think that the thing about the Lakers, and I suppose in order to answer the question, are they the real deal? I think the answer to that is yes, they are. They have showed that they are not here to play games. They are here to play basketball and winning basketball. So a 5-1 start is a fantastic start. They obviously have to press on from there. Absolutely. And I don't think that this current Lakers team will have that significant of a drop-off if they lose LeBron James for a few games. I think that's the critical thing here, is that with Anthony Davis and the rest of the team that they have there, they can actually keep pushing for the number one seed in the West and the number one seed overall, because they've got a really great unit. Danny Green, you mentioned. I think the people who might have been doubting him are the ones who don't understand basketball properly, because this guy has been delivering on every single team he's been at. He's won championships with the Spurs and the Raptors, and now he's hoping to do it in LA with the Lakers, and I think he's got that kind of fighting spirit. So it's just what they do as a collective that's going to be interesting.
I think, Cyrus, some of the people, and first of all, big shout out to Alex Caruso, before we forget this performing young man. Before we forget this young man has been performing. He's been dunking like he's LeBron.
He's an interesting character, and I like that every team has got, the sort of fan favorites.
Yep.
Somebody you'd be like, oh my goodness, why do you like this guy? And be like, oh, it's the way he plays, the heart he shows.
Yep.
But sometimes you get these guys who've got all of it. They just don't look like they have a superstar look.
No.
And Alex Caruso looks as if he's as average gets.
Absolutely. He's the kind of guy you meet at the mall and you're like, hey, Alex, how's it going?
How you doing, brother?
Who's that Alex guy?
Yeah.
He plays for the Lakers. No.
Oh, exactly. But he's got the game to prove that he's supposed to be there. And I think credit has also got to go to Frank Vogel, who's done a good job in knitting together this Lakers team in a short period of time.
Absolutely.
They're playing basketball that works for their system, works for the players that they have, and I think that this could be potentially the start of something really special for them this season. I do think that there's obviously a big elephant in the Los Angeles-shaped room, and that is the LA Clippers. And
no, Cyrus, it's not even a big elephant. It is a brick wall that the Lakers need to break through.
Yeah.
If you ask me today, if I was to fast forward what I see the Western Conference Final being, all things being equal, it's a Los Angeles affair. Clippers versus Lakers.
Man, what a game that would be. What a series that would be.
Because, hey, we're going to the Staples Center. Oh, we're going back to the Staples Center.
Yeah, there's no travel.
No travel.
In fact, I think it's the only occasion where you'd have that, where both teams are the home team, even when they're away.
They just
in the NBA.
Floor. Yeah,
exactly.
they change the floor. So, Cyrus, I definitely say the Lakers are the real deal. But if you were to ask me, do I honestly think they're the best team in the NBA right now? I would say maybe, not definitely.
Okay.
Because the Clippers, sorry, so you cannot ignore
even
the
with
power
all
of
your love for LeBron and everything purple and gold, you still think maybe they're not quite the number one team.
Not yet.
Their record says they are.
Not yet. You know me, Cyrus. I always wait until All-Star.
Yeah.
Post All-Star, then I can start, maybe see
that
walking.
braggadocious comes out, braggadocious K.
Then when I pull out my oversized gold and purple jackets after All-Star. But right now, it's been a great start. They're showing that they're the real deal. And basically, show me a couple of other teams that can do better in the West at the moment. Not too many.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. I mean, at present, the Lakers are the real deal. I think they're going to go far. Now, one of the other things we've got to talk about here, we've covered the Lakers. We both believe they're the real deal. You got to get behind this. Everybody who's listening and watching, you got to get behind this. The Lakers are definitely going to be putting up a massive fight. But there are a couple of teams who've been really impressive.
Yep.
And surprisingly so. And I think that's what we want to look at here is the surprise packages. There are two in particular, and they're in either conference, and man, have they stood up and they're there to be counted. So in the Eastern Conference, you've got the Miami Heat. And if you remember when we were talking about our predictions for the season, teams that are going to make the playoffs, I said to you, Spoelstra and the Heat, they're not playing games. These guys.
Cyrus, in my prediction, I didn't even put the Heat in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's how crazy it was. And look, because the way they finished last season, and my biggest change there right now that I see is one Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
And look, he's a questionable leader. You know, he's
super
at his
talent.
challenges.
Super talent,
but
yeah.
attitude laden.
Not everybody is everybody's favorite, you know?
Absolutely. And basically, when I looked at the roster, I mean, I wasn't really seeing, a bunch of guys that could really give it to even the East, which is considered to be a little bit easier than the West. Supposedly.
Meanwhile, the NBA champions come from there.
Absolutely. And those are not the only ones, because if you go back to 2013, it was the Miami Heat. If you go to 2016, it was the Cleveland Cavaliers. But let's not get into all of that.
Okay,
because
just history.
Back to the Heat. The Heat, they've started off with a bang, 5-1.
Yeah.
You said one of the three teams with a 5-1 start, and they're top of the East. But Cyrus, for real, can they keep it up?
Well, that's the question, right? Like, I don't think anybody expects the Heat to be the number one seed in the East because they didn't seem to have the right kind of squad. But when you look at what Spoelstra is doing with this team and the way these guys are playing, you just can't help but be really, really impressed. Because Kendrick Nunn in particular, right?
Yep.
Undrafted, comes into the league and he's playing as if he's been in the NBA for a very long time.
Kendrick Nunn putting up good numbers.
Very big numbers. Then you've got the rookie Tyler Hero, who everybody has been raving about. I spoke about him being potentially in the conversation for Rookie of the Year if he carries on with the performances that he's had. And I think that those are the kinds of players that really could do it. He could be a hero.
I just had a cheesy thought.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think Spoelstra was like, I need a hero?
Oh,
and boom.
We're putting you back in your box. Okay, that might be the end of the podcast. You carry on like that. I think he might have thought that, and he's definitely got a hero. But Tyler Hero really has looked good. He's looked sharp. But it's the collective here. And their victory, the Heat's victory against the Houston Rockets, was just sensational. When you look at the scoreline, when you look at the performance, you even had a Gabonese youngster in Chris Silva get up and have a massive dunk in this game.
But Cyrus, do you really want to talk about the Houston Rockets right about now?
No, we don't need to go there. Though, I think the thing is that when you're looking at it, the Rockets should be a better team than the Heat.
I love the way you use that word, should. Because, I don't know, I think this is for another podcast. We're going to look at how many iterations of the Houston Rockets are we going to see before we face the truth and say, maybe it's time to dismantle things and reassemble or something.
Such a tough call, because the same thing could be said about the Warriors, right? Obviously, injury has impacted their squad specifically. But when you look at it, you also have to look at salary cap. You have to look at, the makeup of the team. Are there too many young players? Are there too many old players? And with the Rockets, you look at it, and the big talking point is, can Harden and Westbrook play together? And sometimes it looks as if they can. But it's the other players on that team that are really costing them.
I think they're not answering the bigger question. They're asking little questions. The bigger question is, can ISO ball still work in today's NBA?
If you play defense, why not? Anyway, we did say we're not going to go down this Rockets rabbit hole. As you can see, it is a deep rabbit hole. But to go back to the Heat, so look at the guys that are on this roster, and you start thinking of it in terms of where should they realistically finish in the East. I mean, Bam Adebayo, we love this guy, Nigerian-American. He's been doing some really good things for the franchise, and he's really taken a nice leap forward. Jimmy Butler is going to be a massive centerpiece for them as they try to put something together to make a deep run in the playoffs if possible. Goran Dragic brings a lot of experience, and he's a great player.
All-star Goran Dragic.
Exactly. So, you look at him, James Johnson, Derrick Jones Jr. There's a lot of bits and pieces that can actually do well. Myers Leonard has showed that he is really meant for the Spoelstra system. He's done well when he's come on and he's given them really good minutes. Kelly Olynyk is the kind of player who I absolutely have detested over the years, but have grown to appreciate what he does for the Heat.
He's solid, though. He's a solid player. He's not the quickest player, but the likes of Dion Waiters, to me, Dion Waiters has fallen off, side. Do we still talk about Dion Waiters?
To the level that he talks about Dion Waiters, no, we don't.
But remember, he was once Dion Waiters. I actually thought this was going to be the rebirth of the Flash,
He called himself the mini LeBron, right?
Yeah. So I actually even thought he was going to be like the little D-Wade.
Dwayne Wade.
But, because of the speed and all that.
But that's what is great about professional sport, is that you're only as good as the potential that you reach.
Uh-huh.
And Dion Waiters is not a bad player by any stretch.
No.
But his consistency is just not up to par.
It's fallen off in recent
and I think that's one of the reasons why we're not putting the Heat higher up in our estimations here.
Mm-hmm.
Justice Winslow is a great piece for these guys. When you look at what he does, he can do a whole lot for that team. And they haven't missed some of the players that they've let go, like a Tyler Johnson, for instance. So I think that Spoelstra and the Heat have done what they thought they could do. The NBA has just been surprised by what they're actually doing. To top the East takes a heck of a lot when you've got the Bucks and Sixers, Raptors. There's a whole Celtics, a whole bunch of teams who should be higher than they are. But beginning of the season, right?
Yep.
So, our other team.
The Phoenix Suns, Cyrus, they're sitting second in the West with a 5-2 start, only behind my favorite team, the Los Angeles Lakers. Now,
a 5-2 start, right?
Yes, Cyrus. This is a squad not too many seasons ago that was sitting rock bottom in the West.
Solidly rock bottom.
Yeah, like beyond question. Remember, Cyrus? It's actually funny. Sidebar. A couple of seasons ago, if you go back into our old podcast, we were laughing at the Brooklyn Nets.
Yep.
And the Phoenix Suns. How times change so quickly.
But this is what it's supposed to be about, in the sense that, people talk about tanking, right?
Yeah.
They talk about, no, you got to do this stuff and you get these picks and all of that stuff. But it really has, if you're going to tank, it's got to be so that you can get good players in order to stop being bad as a team. And what we're seeing from the Suns is that there finally seems to be a positive direction, and Coach Monty Williams has been that guy who's managed to bring together and assemble a good squad of players that can actually do some work. So when you think about their most recent exploits, they went and they beat the 76ers, 114-109. Now, obviously,
that's impressive.
But this is the 76ers without Joel Embiid because of suspension.
Yep.
And that's also okay. You got to beat the team that's in front of you.
So, Cyrus, I never look at games like that and say no because this guy didn't play. My then Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Golden State Warriors because of one Draymond Green who misbehaved and ended up missing a game, right? And the scales to the championship swayed in the Cavaliers' direction. So, whatever, Joel Embiid isn't in the game, but, let it be.
And I agree with you there completely. However, when we look at it, there are also other factors that are happening at the Suns that are really integral, and that has to do with the acquisition of some really good role players in that squad. So when they got Kelly Oubre Jr. last season, looked like a solid move, didn't really pan out, but now it's looking like a monster acquisition, right? He goes with a Devin Booker, who we know is a proven scorer, might not do it as consistently against most teams as he should do, but Devin Booker is always a threat. Then it's the guys around them. And this is where there's a real masterstroke. Getting Ricky Rubio in, he really knows how to marshal that floor.
Yep.
And when he's on the court, the team plays well. He's the kind of guy that they really have been looking for so long. Dario Saric is another great addition.
Dario Saric is solid, Cyrus.
Yeah,
Dario Saric is solid.
When you look at it from the forward position, he's out there doing what he needs to do, getting rebounds, taking those shots. He's a stretch big. He's not like a center or anything, but the thing is that his three-point shooting is often quite good.
Yep.
And then suddenly you've got a reborn Frank Kaminsky, who looks like an NBA player.
Yep. Well, he always has.
Look, you're being kind. Frank Kaminsky has never looked like the kind of guy who should consistently be performing.
Yep.
But this also goes to your point about people being in positions and situations that weren't necessarily good for them.
Yeah.
Him leaving Charlotte is a great move. He's now become a definitely different player. And then you're adding the likes of Tyler Johnson, who is at the Heat, who also brings a little something special. We'd love to see more of DeAndre Ayton when things get sorted out with his suspension, and that's one heck of a loss for them.
I know, Cyrus, but look, they'll sort it out. They'll sort it out. I mean, sometimes things happen, and I think it has happened. And I think when he comes back, it's definitely going to be a great addition or re-addition.
If there's one thing, he'll be fresh.
Yes, he'll be rested.
Yeah, that will be it.
Fresh mind, fresh body.
But then exactly. But then you've got Mikal Bridges, you've got Cheikh Diallo. These guys can actually do some stuff, but they really have to work hard.
And Aaron Baines, why are you leaving out Aaron Baines?
You know I don't rate him. Okay, no, I'm just kidding.
That's a great big. He did some great stuff at the Celtics.
But I think Aaron Baines is actually a really solid player. He does what the coaches have asked him to do, which is all you ever want from a player, right?
Absolutely.
And the thing is that he works in this sort of pick and roll offense when they do need to play it. He also grabs boards when it's when they need to. So he's the kind of big man that works within the system that they're playing. And I think that it's players like Aaron Baines, like Kaminsky, who haven't necessarily been rated by other teams, who have been given a shot at in Phoenix to say, go out and do your best.
And Cyrus, one of our favorite players, and in one of the pieces we're working on for our website, which is African players that need a solid season or a standout season, is Cheikh Diallo. I know you've been following him closely since he arrived on the scene in NOLA.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to, I'm about to drop a name here, Anthony Davis.
Drop it.
And Anthony Davis did say, Cheikh Diallo is my rookie, because he came in after AD had been there. So it's my rookie. He's my rookie, and I really think his work ethic is going to make him a great NBA player.
Yeah.
Obviously, things didn't work out too well in NOLA, but do you think the Suns is a spot where he can? Do you see where I went with that?
Yeah.
The Suns is a spot where he can, rise up.
Show he is. Well, he's not getting games at the moment.
Okay.
Right? That's a big issue. And I think that teams have got to start betting on him, because I feel that Cheikh Diallo has the potential to be one of the success stories in the NBA, much like a Pascal Siakam. I feel that their games are very similar. He just needs to be backed. I think certain coaches have their guys in mind and the systems, and so they don't necessarily give people playing time when they deserve it. And Cheikh Diallo, I feel, has always deserved more minutes. It's just a question of whether or not Monty Williams will allow him to get that. But the season is long.
It's very long. It's 82 games, like I always say, 82 games. Plus more if you're making it to the postseason.
That's exactly it. And I mean, recently, now I'm going to drop a name here. When we spoke to DJ Mbenga, two-time NBA champion,
those
DJ
are
Mbenga.
Legendary names that dropped out.
Exactly. But when we spoke to DJ Mbenga, we asked him what it takes to be a champion, because he's not Kobe, he understands that. But he talked about always being ready. When you're called upon, make the most of your minutes. And when you're out there, show the coach and the fans that you really deserve to get those minutes. And that's what we need to see from Cheikh, that Cheikh needs to keep his head up, work hard, he will get his opportunities.
And Cyrus, let's move on to another third team that's been, I don't know if we should say such a big surprise, but we didn't expect them to gel so soon.
Yeah.
And that's the Dallas Mavs, Cyrus.
The Mavs are such an interesting team for me, because I love Luka Doncic. I'm a big fan. I know you're a big fan too.
You've been following him since the EuroLeague.
Well, a little bit, just a little bit. But the thing about Doncic, though, is that his partnership with the Porzingis, who's also starting to find his feet a little bit in Dallas, is something that could become a cornerstone of that franchise for a long time to come. I think that they've got the players who could really push that franchise to become the next big thing in the West.
Do you think they could, this current makeup could bring back the 2011 championship winning Mavs?
No.
Okay.
Mainly because I think there's a lot of work that needs to happen for the players from the scoring side. I think Doncic is doing a good job. I think Porzingis is doing a good job. But the thing about that Mavs team was that they had scorers and other players who contributed. And I think that we're seeing some of that with the Mavs at present, but not enough of it. So the players that are currently there, they've got a good squad, right? They've got a good roster. But is it a roster where you think, okay, fine, if Luka's sitting, we're not going to lose production? And I don't see that when you're looking at Seth Curry or Jalen Brunson or JJ Barea, Tim Hardaway Jr. in particular. These guys are serviceable.
You're trying hard.
They're serviceable, but I just don't see them lifting themselves to that level.
You are trying hard there.
Yeah, well, but isn't it true though? Right? It is true. Because I've always liked Dwight Powell, but Dwight Powell hasn't necessarily done much in order to earn rave reviews consistently.
Absolutely.
So the Mavs, they're doing well. Rick Carlisle is a great coach. I think him and the ownership, Mark Cuban and what have you, they've got a great idea as to what they want to do. So I like the sort of leaning into Europe in terms of trying to find bargains, like a Maxi Kleber who's been fantastic.
Boban Marjanovic. I like Boban. I think he's one of the last remaining giants of the NBA.
He really is. He really is. And such a presence, on both ends that if used effectively can give you some good minutes. So, it's those kinds of guys. I just think that they need to get their second unit to really raise their game a whole lot more consistently, and they'll definitely be in the equation. I mean, they ran the Lakers very close recently, and that has to do with the fact that Luka Doncic is an absolute superstar. And I think he's going to be an all-star.
Yeah, Luka Doncic has to be an all-star, and he's definitely one of the great, not just the great European talents in the NBA, just a great basketball player per se.
Yeah.
Be it Europe, Africa, Asia, whatever. Luka Doncic, we'll speak about Luka Doncic for years to come.
Yeah.
Even our children and our children's children.
Well, I don't know about that, but
I'm telling you.
Because the space basketball would have taken over, But I love Doncic.
Intercontinental leagues.
No, exactly. I love Doncic. I think that he's the kind of player who will really have a great career in the NBA because his skill set.
Hall of Fame potential?
Look, it's way too early for that. Way too early. But if I'm looking to my crystal ball, I don't see why not. Yeah. Depending on what he does in his career. Absolutely. Winning a Rookie of the Year never makes you a Hall of Famer. It's what you do after that that really counts. So let's start sort of wrapping things up and let's go into the NBA Players of the Week. Because there's two fantastic players. We've been talking about them all season. Yours in particular being Western Conference Player of the Week, Anthony Davis from the LA Lakers.
Yeah, you almost said the Clippers there.
No.
Stop stealing our players,
I ain't going to be stealing one.
Stop stealing our players. Look, Anthony Davis averaging 32, 13, and 2.7 blocks. That's 32 points, 13 rebounds, and 2.7 blocks.
That's a heck of an average.
That's a heck of an average. Cyrus, I mean, Anthony Davis coming from NOLA, joining the Lakers, I think he's found a team now, because obviously he was the main man in NOLA.
Yeah.
But now he comes to a LeBron-led LA Lakers, and LeBron is like, look, son, these are my latter years.
Yeah.
So warm up that hand to take that torch, and it could come anytime. So Anthony Davis is just there. He's performing. If you run most plays through him, most of the times they're going to be successful.
Yeah.
Now on the East, one of our favorites.
Oh, yes. The Nigerian Targaryen.
Yes, we are not going down the Greek freak road.
No, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Not even in reference to his sneaker.
Yeah. Freak ones. But Giannis is just so good.
25.3 points, 13.3 rebounds, and 6.5 assists. Cyrus, I was going to say this man's going to be an MVP, but guess what? He already is.
He is.
I was going to say, why wasn't he ever the most improved player?
But he was.
Oh, wow. Cyrus, to think, I always go back to this. You met this young man in 2015.
Yeah.
And he just seemed so humble and like you were wondering, will he be a great player? But
Kaunda,
look at him now.
I watched him at that Africa game. And I remember telling anybody who could listen, this boy is going to be a star. I saw it in the way he played, how he approached the game.
Yeah.
Because, as you know, these are not necessarily competitive affairs.
No,
and Giannis doesn't play around when it comes to All-Star or Africa games. He is going to go and try and win.
Well, you remember he had to be told in in his first All-Star appearance.
Yeah, just calm down.
Giannis,
calm down, Giannis.
Turn it down a notch.
You're making us look bad.
This is an exhibition game.
But he's, the fact that he's also working on his game to improve it, to become an even better player, says so much. He hasn't had the chance to lean on stuff like a mid-range jumper, like a Kevin Durant. No. Right? He's had to build his game a totally different way because of the way he's learned basketball and the way he's been utilized. But now there are very few things he's not excellent at.
Yep.
Yes, mid and long range shooting is not a strong point, but he's working on it so much that it is becoming a good tool in his arsenal. And you see it in him winning Player of the Week.
Yeah, Cyrus, I mean, we can't knock those players of the week. Anthony Davis from the West and Giannis Antetokounmpo in the East. And I think these two players are actually players to watch.
Yeah, well, you know,
for the rest of the
season. The whole season, they could be facing off in the finals.
Yeah, these guys could face off in the finals. And I think I'm happy for Anthony Davis, and I'm also happy for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
No, well, why wouldn't you be? Those guys deserve it, right?
Yeah, and speaking of Giannis,
so let's talk about it, because African Player of the Week is what we love to do. We focus on our African players. We focus on our brothers on the court in the NBA who have African heritage. And there's been some really impressive performances in the last sort of week or so. One of our standouts has to be somebody who hasn't gotten enough love, mainly because his coach hasn't been playing him enough. But that's Gorgie Jang from the Minnesota Timberwolves. He had a fantastic performance.
Look, Cyrus, Gorgie is one of those guys who's had a good season, followed by an average season, followed by another good season, maybe not a so good season. And, you know, you kind of wonder, you know, why. But I think also the minutes played, it plays a big role in how he performs and what he's considered at the team, whether it's just a role player or is he a starter. I mean, there was a time a couple of seasons ago where he was a starter and he started a couple of games. And you could see Gorgie can play, you know, he can rub shoulders with the best of them, especially in that very, very rough 4 position. You know, being a power forward is not easy. Yes, any power forward, it takes its toll on your body, not like any other position doesn't. But you know, the power forward position,
you're there banging bodies.
You're there banging bodies in the paint. So I'm so glad he did what he did.
And the thing is, 18 points. I mean, this isn't a win over the Washington Wizards. He grabbed 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 blocks. This is the potential this man has, is that he's got the ability to score when given the chance, grab boards, which is what he's supposed to do, and block shots. This is also another strength of his. So I think that if the Timberwolves have any sense, they play Gorgie Jang more.
Absolutely.
That's just what we want to see.
I agree. And that performance against the Wizards was just fantastic. In second position, because, you know, we're starting from the third up.
Starting from the bottom over here.
No, we won't call third position the bottom. We're just starting from the third to the top.
Yeah.
Pascal Siakam.
Yeah, Pascal.
What more can we say about Spicy P?
Well, what we should be saying is MVP potential candidate, but current All-Star Pascal Siakam. That's what we want. I want that guy to be an All-Star so bad.
All right.
And I think he's going to get it. I think he's going to be an All-Star this season.
We'll keep holding you to it, Cyrus.
Well, this is the third podcast in a row
I'm not
I'm
disagreeing
saying
with you, but I'm going to hold it. I'm going to hold it against you if he doesn't make it. I said, Cyrus, you didn't vote enough.
In fact, we're going to ask all of you to vote as much as possible when the voting opens. But 30 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals was his best performance against the Detroit Pistons. I mean, with numbers like that, he's just... You cannot ignore Pascal Siakam.
No, you can't. Cyrus, I think he's one of the great talents to come out of Africa. I mean, from a guy, like I always say, he wanted to be a Catholic priest, bumped into Luke Mbamute at a camp somewhere, had a discussion, picked up the ball as a teenager. Look at him now.
The rest is history. And Pascal Siakam, NBA champion Pascal Siakam, NBA Most Improved Player of the Year Pascal Siakam.
Lest we forget.
Yeah, this guy has got every single thing in the arsenal.
PWB alum.
Yeah, he's just superb. So he's the number 2 pick on our African Players of the Week. Number 1,
it has to be.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's, you know, his best performance this past week was against the Toronto Raptors.
Yep.
In a statement game, because the Milwaukee Bucks had to show that they had what it takes. 36 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 blocks. What more? Did he have to drive the team bus? I mean, he did pretty much everything in that game.
And I bet you the sneaker he was wearing had his name on it.
You know, it's these bets you take that you just can't lose that make me wonder about how you even go into these bets to begin with. But yeah, he probably was wearing a freak one, you know. I think Giannis is just such a special player, and obviously having won the MVP for a reason, you know, it says a lot about who he is.
Yeah.
And he just wants to improve. And you don't always get that with people who have been voted most valuable, that they want to be better than they were before.
Look, Cyrus, I think after seeing what happened to Steph Curry, I think players like Giannis would be motivated to try and go back to back. It's
Yeah.
not something that happens all the time.
Not
but
at all.
Why shouldn't they think, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Why can't I go back to back? A legend in the making like Steph Curry went back to back. I'm also kind of like a legend in the making, so let me also do the same thing. And I think coming off the season that he came off, and falling victim, if you may say, to a Kawhi Leonard-led Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
He sees Kawhi has left. It's kind of like that thing where LeBron left the East. It's like, okay.
But the next step is NBA Finals, right? That's
Yeah.
what it's got to be.
That's
Conference
what it's
Finals before that.
Yeah.
But NBA Finals, that's got to be what the Bucks are looking at.
And I see the Bucks meeting the 76ers, but too early to tell. Like I said, let's wait till after All-Star, then I'll definitely put my predictions forward.
Okay, well, that's the end of the Poster Podcast for this week. It's been sensational.
Yeah, it's been astronomically fantastic. Supercalifragilistic.
He's got all the words, ladies and gentlemen. He's got all the words. From me, Cyrus Rogers.
And from me, Kaunda Chama.
It is goodbye, and we'll see you again soon.
Peace.